As important as aircraft are at AirVenture, it is the people involved with aviation and those who put their lives on the line for our safety who we take time out to thank and pay tribute. There's no better place than Oshkosh for a commemoration. Those who served 25 years ago in Desert Storm, 75 years ago at Pearl Harbor, or a century ago in the battles of World War I, as well as those who continue to serve every day. It's been a quarter of a century since the events of Desert Storm and Desert Shield. More than 100,000 sorties were executed throughout a period of only a little more than a month during Desert Storm. Military aircraft represented this year on static display as well as in flight included the F-15 Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, A-10 Warthog, the F-18 Hornet, as well as aircraft such as the KC-135 and C-5M. Four-star General Charles Horner commanded U.S. and Allied air operations during those 43 days.
I'll say this. I was very proud of the work that everybody did in Desert Storm, and it was, I think, amazing to the American people. And so we got the march down New York and Washington. Everybody was elated and things. And I think part of that euphoria they had was, first, they didn't understand how good our military was then. And I don't think that they were fully appreciated that we were just doing our job. They were so relieved that there weren't massive casualties. They were so relieved it got over with quick. And they were somewhat guilty of the condemnation of the military after Vietnam, that there was more euphoria than we'd earned. But I'll take it. I mean, you know.
Many veterans of any war will tell you that, be it 25 years ago or 3/4 of a century, the memories are just as vivid today.
I was quartermaster, third class, and quartermaster of the watch. And of course, it started at 5 minutes to 8, but we didn't last long. We blew up at 9 minutes after 8. And from then on out, well, it was just World War II started, and we knew it was coming, we just didn't know when.
World War II had been raging for more than 2 years without America's direct involvement. Then, during the first week of December 1941, the U.S. territory of Hawaii was thrust into the forefront of every American's thoughts and prayers.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
AirVenture attendees were invited to participate in recreations of the days prior to the attack.
We now turn our attention to Bern, Switzerland. We take you to our correspondent, Alice Marvel. Come in, Bern. Are you there, Bern?
Bypassing Tugnaroon to the north after breaking the Germans' rearguard line in a 6-hour engagement.
And to look to the sky for tributes to the battle itself, as well as to other aircraft that played a part in the overall conflict. One airplane involved in the tribute is as authentic as it gets. This restored interstate cadet was in the air for flight training over Oahu when the attack began. "25 years prior to the Day of Infamy, what was then known as the Great War began. The combatants are gone, but memories of those men and women still remain in our minds and live on as ghostly guardians of these biplanes and triplanes. They're not all originals. Some are created from scratch, lovingly built replicas. They come from museums and collections from across America with such legendary names as Sopwith, Fokker, and Spad. Unfortunately for the world, the belief that World War I was the war to end all wars would not prove true. But fortunately, our skies are still protected by 21st century Eddie Rickenbackers. And many of the jets used in Desert Storm and Desert Shield still patrol the skies today. Closer to home, the United States Coast Guard watches over our waterways, protecting freedom and saving lives. AirVenture played host to one of the few official celebrations of the centennial of Coast Guard aviation.
So we're here at Oshkosh celebrating 100 years of Coast Guard aviation. It's the Coast Guard Aviation Centennial. We're celebrating that this year here at Oshkosh. We're going to have 4 different Coast Guard aircraft. We've got the MH-65 behind me, the HC-144 right next to us. We've got a C-130 and then an H-60 coming in today. So really a great time to showcase 100 years of Coast Guard aviation here at the world's greatest air show.
Currently, the Coast Guard falls under the purview of the Department of Homeland Security. It operates almost 200 fixed and rotary wing aircraft and more than 1,500 watercraft along America's coastlines and inland waterways, as well as on the open seas around the world.
100 years, it's truly a milestone. We just celebrated 100 years of aviation a few years ago. Naval Aviation just celebrated theirs. I believe that was 3 years ago. And 100 years is a milestone. We've been saving people from the perils of the sea for 100 years. And I wish we had a count on how many people that was. That'd be a pretty significant number. But it's what I love to do, and I'm happy to be here celebrating and representing.